It's having a crew of like six, seven, eight of you guys behind us at any point saying, "Hey, look, I want to do this trip. Like, let's figure out how to make it happen." And in
Hmm.
return, you get a step by step on how to execute it.
Cool.
Before, it was all on my own shoulders. So yeah,
Nice.
it's awesome.
All right, on here with Chris Barlow. Chris, thanks for jumping on today. I'm super excited to dive in and recap your experience in working with us and the value you've gotten and why it's been meaningful to you. So, as we jump into this, can you just tell everyone a little bit about you and your business, where you live, your family, and how you guys are traveling?
Yeah, sure. So I've been running internet marketing agencies for about 8, 10 years now. Do a lot of high spend on credit cards, but previously only booked through Amex Portal. Currently now a family of four. Like to travel first business as much as possible, but whatever happens gets harder with kids.
As you're holding the little one right there. So,
Yeah,
um, speaking of that, we're going to jump right into it. We recently helped book a pretty big trip, and I saw on our calculator, which I'll pull up here in a minute, it was well over $100,000 worth of savings compared to the cash value on it. Just
yep.
walk us through a little bit of what happened on that one.
Yeah, pretty awesome. Trying to take a kind of first family trip. My parents, wife's parents, siblings and such. So we're rolling like 10 deep on that one. I'm gonna go to do south of France for a couple weeks, but hit you guys up. Allison was like, "Yeah, let's see about this." We found like three or four seats, and then we also figured out that hey, the same thing that worked for three and four seats worked for 10 seats. So let's get us all on the same flight and make it nice and easy.
There we go. And talking about some of the difference there, because I'll just pull this up on my end, right? I'm looking at the calculator now. That trip would have been $120,000 in cash
Yeah,
value.
crazy,
Crazy,
crazy.
right? And had you gone through Amex Travel, it would have been roughly 11.8 million points.
Yeah,
Okay, well, so that's a lot of points. I don't know how many do you have
absurd.
right now.
I
Do you
think
know
just
roughly?
shy of 5 million.
Okay, so you're already stacked with a lot compared to most people, but
Yeah,
so that would have been more than what you even have, and then you end up coming out of pocket for this less than a million points, 940,000, and
yeah,
you paid around 8 grand in taxes and fees.
totally. Yep.
So pretty big savings. Now, I would love to hear because we have like a range of clientele, and some are earlier in business, they're early six-figure entrepreneurs, and some are multiple seven, multiple eight-figure entrepreneurs with lots of businesses. They've got real estate investing. They're doing pretty well. So sometimes
Sure.
they look at this and they're like, "That's cool. I don't want to use points because I don't care about saving that much money on trips." This was obviously pretty meaningful. So for someone who's done pretty well in business, I'm curious to hear a little bit why this was a meaningful savings and trip for you and compared to your alternatives.
For sure. And for me to be specific too, a lot of it is with the support that comes with it outside of just the point savings, right? Like, yeah, you do well in business and the whole bit. You make decent revenue and you earn a lot of points just naturally, and you get accustomed to the whole Amex travel portal side of things. But for me, the value, the outside of the financial component of leveraging the points for such a crazy return, it's having a crew of like six, seven, eight of you guys behind us at any point saying, "Hey, look, I want to do this trip. Like, let's figure out how to make it happen." And in
Hmm.
return, you get a step by step on how to execute it.
Cool.
Before, it was all on my own shoulders. So yeah,
Nice.
it's awesome.
Yeah, and before you worked with us, did you know about transferring points really, or and you weren't doing it, or you didn't even know about it? Where were you with that?
So I knew about it, like most people, right? Like you see everybody posting on Instagram, whatever. Oh wow, I just did XYZ, but I didn't know the in and out mechanics of it per se. Whatever
Gotcha.
Amex would flash you would say like, "Hey, you transfer here, you get a 40% bonus." I'm like, "Okay, great. Then what?"
Right. Yeah. So what was the gap? Why didn't you figure that out on your own in terms of because like the savings are obviously pretty big. The potential here is pretty significant. I think
Time.
total, it looks like across all your trips, I'm looking at the total we have here. I'm just gonna screen share this. In total, it looks like we've saved over $200,000 on if we accumulate all the savings from the different trips in terms
Yeah,
compared to the cash value. So obviously
yeah,
the savings potential is pretty significant. So I'd love to hear a little
huge.
more about like why didn't you figure it out on your own without us?
Honestly, it comes down to time. Like it wasn't exactly my cup of tea that I knew right out the gate. And if I were to dedicate more time to it, I probably could learn enough. But I don't know. I hold a higher value to time savings now with kids and everything, right? Like
Right.
time is your most valuable resource. So
Totally.
sometimes a financial exchange for that time makes a lot more sense, especially
Totally.
when the accomplished success rate is huge. Like I don't think there's been one trip so far that you guys haven't had a solution for.
Nice. I'm glad. And to be fair, you've had a little bit of flexibility on a lot of these trips, right?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
give or take a few days, up
Yeah.
to a week,
I
but
mean, that's the
it's
difference
huge.
maker. But even those few days and even like some of the routing is a big difference maker because some people will say, "Hey, I live in LA. I can only leave, I think for your niece trip, I forget the exact date, but let's say you probably told us, hey, I could leave anytime this week. But some
Yeah,
people say I have to leave June 5th and I need 10 people nonstop on the route directly to where I'm going. Like, good luck with that, right? But your
exactly.
flexibility and willing to work with us is what makes us, puts us in a position to present that to you.
For sure.
Yeah. Cool, man. So if someone's watching this and they're like a business owner who's already using their points a little bit, they're probably going through Amex Travel. Maybe they're using some of the perks like fine hotels and resorts and some of that stuff. What would be your message to them about considering working with us or taking the leap and investing in the service?
You just don't know what you're missing. Like it really is hard. Like I think you and I talked about it, like my preferred hotel chain was Four Seasons before. And you're like, well, we don't really have a lot of direct relationship with Four Seasons or whatever with transfer points, but you get exposed to this whole new world of all the Waldorf resorts and stuff. Now I'm kind of a fanboy of that,
Hmm.
and everything else that you just don't quite understand using just Amex only.
Yeah,
It's I don't know, it just goes way deeper than like, yes, from a financial standpoint, it makes so much sense, especially if you like to travel at least 3 times a year.
yeah.
But you just don't know all the different components of this until you jump into it.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, 100%. That's really the core message. People don't know what they don't know. So that's part of why these are really
Yeah,
helpful. So I appreciate you sharing some of that. And you mentioned one last thing I'd like to touch on because it's a big question mark is the simplicity versus complexity, right?
yeah,
Because what most business owners say is, dude, I just want one card. I just want to go through Amex. It's simple. It's easy. All of that. And you've been able to do, significant amount of savings and getting some awesome new experiences for travel that you probably otherwise wouldn't have without
for
having a
sure.
super complex array of 50 new credit cards. So just talk about how easy or difficult this has felt for you in terms of the card setup, the usage of the
For
points, the
sure.
instructions we've given. Talk a little about that.
For sure. I think the ease of use and going back to that support factor, right? Like that's been a huge value add and a huge check mark in the win category for me. Even at the beginning, right, we did the whole card analysis thing, and I mean, to be completely honest, and we've had these conversations as well, like maybe 80% of that was implemented. There's 20% that just didn't end up being a natural fit for
Sure.
the business, and it got too complex. But even at an 80% like implementation rate, it's still huge.
Hmm.
It's still a win, and there's so many different things that I didn't consider even within the card usage standpoint, right? Like
Right.
the value of building different relationships with Chase, and over time it compounds. Like Amex is great, right? They like to give everybody big limits right out the gate, but you get that ball rolling with Chase, and you're right up there with everyone else.
Exactly. 100%, man. Awesome, Chris. Well, really excited to to see you guys take more of these trips and continue to support you on that, especially with the young ones. Like for us, saving money and helping people have more efficiency with their travel is really obviously it's a fun thing. But for us, the most meaningful part is when you get to see someone creating new experiences with their family in a way that's easeful and more enjoyable. So I know you got your little one with us there, and excited for you guys to keep traveling as he grows up along with the other ones. So
Yeah, I love it.
yeah, any last words before we wrap?
No, I'm
Cool.
I'm there.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Eli.
Awesome.